And one of the things I loved about Tuskegee is I said, okay, I like this school because they got standards. I met the students. I said, okay, they come from families with standards. These were regular black people. It's regular these are the same black people you would see at a swap meet, at a barbecue, right? At a maybe on a carnival cruise, right? Whatever, right? These were regular black folks, but but a lot of the toxicity that you see was missing. Every black man I met, there were a few people that recognized me when I was there. Every black man I met shook my hand, gave me a hug. Every black woman was pleasant and friendly. Every child was intelligent and curious. And this is because somebody in their life set a standard, right? So let's start there. Everybody type the word standard in the chat if you agree with me. Type the word standard. We need to know what's the standard. What's the standard to be black? What's the standard to be B1? The B1 standard, Black First standard, means that our goal is to be the best version of ourselves. Our goal is continuous improvement. I met so many people that I just would bump into, and I bumped into a brother who recognized me at the I was in Buc-ee's, and it's like a Disneyland, and it's so much fun. And I was in Buc-ee's, and I ran into a brother who said, "Yeah," he said, you're that guy," and I was like, "Yeah, I think I am. I don't know who that guy is, but I think if you're talking about Denzel Washington, I could be him because we look alike. But actually, my name is Boyce." And so I talked to this brother, and one thing we were talking about was standards, just self-improvement. He said, sometimes he said I look back on my career and the things I've done, and this guy was a millionaire. He was in real estate. And he was making a whole bunch of money. He said he was on his way down to check out some properties, and he was doing HBCU tours, things like that. His name was Sean. And Sean was and he was like, he said, "Man, I look back and I think about times where I lost so much money and mistakes I made and everything else." And I said, "Yeah, of course you made mistakes." I said, "That's because you're seeking continuous growth. You're taking chances. Taking chances means sometimes it's not going to work out, but you kept going." I said, "Number two, the reason that you look back and you see the past version of you as almost like inferior to who you are now is because you're growing. And when you have a commitment to growth because you set a standard, then what's going to always happen inevitably is look, you can't take yourself too seriously if you're setting standards. What does that mean? If you set a standard, you can't take yourself too seriously because guess what's going to happen if you set a standard and you see continuous growth? You know what's going to happen? In the year 2030, I don't care how smart you are, I don't care how fancy you think you are, I don't care how advanced you feel like you are. In 2030, you're going to look back and say, "Oh my God, oh, if I'd only known then what I know now." Because you're going to learn so much between now and the year 2030. You understand?